Good afternoon. Welcome to GDIC's NASA SEWP VI webinar, which is going to review the latest amendments, that is 11 and 12, as well as the two latest batches of responses that were issued by NASA recently. My name is Cal, and I am your artificial intelligence host today. With me is Ab Vand, VP for Capture at GDI Consulting and a subject matter expert on these opportunities. Ab has over 30 years of experience in capture and proposal management. He is considered an expert in self-scoring as well as traditional proposal and capture efforts. Ab has managed over 1,000 successful capture and proposal efforts and is a regular contributor to Washington Technology and other online GovCon magazines. He has also held numerous training webinars for various APMP chapters and Apex, previously PTAC, offices throughout the U.S. Before starting, there are a few housekeeping notes I would like to mention. First, this webinar is being recorded and the link to the recording will be sent to you within 24 hours. Second, we will hold a Q&A session at the end. You can send your questions during the webinar by the chat system to the right of your window and Ab will address them at the end. Third, you can download this presentation by clicking on the link under File on the right-hand side panel on your window. We highly recommend you download the slide deck so that you can always refer back to it. So let's see what this webinar covers. We will first have a quick glimpse on GDI Consulting's capabilities and what it is providing in 2025. Then, a short discussion on the RFP requirements post-Amendment 12 per each category. Then a hand-in discussion on the submission structure. Next, Ab will provide some general notes and clarifications. Finally, before going into the Q&A, Ab will provide his recommendations towards preparing and reviewing a winning proposal. If I want to summarize what you can take away from this webinar, it is firstly, understanding some important changes in each volume requirements. Secondly, new and specific guidelines for JVs and MPJVs. Then a picture of how the submission structure should be, and finally some general notes and recommendations towards how to ensure a thorough review is performed and the submission has no glitches. So, with that, I will now hand over the control to Ab to first give a short glimpse on what GDI Consulting is providing in 2025. Ab, you can take over now.
Hello everyone, and thank you, Cal. Thank you for participating in this SEWP VI webinar. As Cal mentioned, this is post-amendment 12, so we're all set to actually submit, and I don't think that they're going to extend it again. So we really need to move into the preparation and final preparations phase. So I've tried to gear this webinar towards a little bit more hands-on, what you should review and how you should prepare. And also, since they've made a few very important changes in Amendment 11 and 12, it's important that you understand these changes and so on. Now, I do want to explain very quickly about GDI Consulting's plans for 2025. We have some new services that we will be providing to our clients, so I will go over them very quickly. So I think everybody who's participated in our webinars already knows this page. I've just highlighted some of this. As far as SEWP V is concerned, we had 6 wins on that, 4 small businesses and 2 large ones. We now have a 98% win rate on self-scoring proposals. We got 93 awards on Oasis Plus that was announced, and an 83% win rate on NASA opportunities, as SEWP VI is a NASA RFP. Over 300 repeat customers, over 86 large clients. Some of them are on the top 10 list of defense contractors. And then 289 wins in 2024. We were able to compile it, and with $18.6 billion worth of contracts that we got for our clients. Now, as far as our services, so we have 4 divisions, and we have expanded our capabilities in each of these divisions. The Proposal Development Division takes care of both task orders and standalone proposal writing, which is usually the traditional proposals that have, management and technical and that sort of thing, volumes. And then the IDIQ, BPA, and GWAC proposal support we provide are mostly these days self-scoring, and we are one of the leaders, or I think we are the top leader with, as I said, a little bit less than 100 wins on Oasis Plus. So that's another service we provide, and of course review services and staff augmentation are all in our bag under the proposal development division. Now the capture management division provides both strategic capture or dedicated capture management, as well as tactical sourcing and qualification. We have now a special service we provide for Oasis Plus, GSA Mass, and Seaport contractors. We help them identify task orders under these and provide support for that. So that's a special service we're providing for our clients on Oasis Plus, plus GSA Mass schedule awardees and Seaport and other actually contract vehicles. And finally, Capture Edge is our new capture management platform that provides a full plethora of capabilities for capture, for getting information from the government side, from competitor side, from RFPs, pricing, management of your proposal, everything. So, and hopefully we will hold some specific webinars towards that. The support division of support services provides competitive intel, black hat exercises, price to win, and we are now helping a number of companies, helping them preparing their accounting systems for DCAA and DCMA audits. So that's another service we're providing. So if you're looking to prepare your accounting system to get an audit for DCAA, DCMA, we can help you on that. And then finally, our training division provides proposal development, capture management. So these are the services we're providing in 2025. We want to place ourselves as a one-stop shop for all your needs towards getting those contracts from the government. Okay, so that was a short brief about our capabilities and what we are providing in 2025. Now, as far as SEWP VI is concerned, right now, most people are in the review phase, so we are providing review services to our clients. If somebody wants a full proposal development right now, it's very late, but yes, we can do that too. And of course, we provide free consultations. So if you have any questions, by all means, coordinate with us and we can jump on a call and I can answer any questions that you might have. Okay, so let's see what's the latest status on SEWP VI, first of all. So as you know, there were a number of questions submitted to the government. Overall, they have responded back to 5,163 overall in 7 batches. That was the first round. That was essentially in 2024. 7 batches of responses, 5,163. Then they opened up questions again. I don't know why they did it, but they did it. And they received 1,090 questions and they have responded back to those. So they're now even with us. Batches 8 and 9, which were released in 13th and 17th of January, they cover 1,090 responses. And these are important ones that you should actually review. So Amendment 11 was issued on 17th of January 2025, and Amendment 12 on 24th of January 2025. I think these are the most important amendments. Don't go back anymore. Perhaps Amendment 12 or maximum 11 is all you need to actually review. And the final submission due date is now February 19th, 2025, before 1 p.m. EST, and I doubt very much if they're going to extend it. So that is the day, D-Day. Okay, let's move on. So let's go into the proposal requirements. Now, as I said, what I'm going to discuss for each of the categories A, B, C is post Amendment 12. So a lot of things have changed, and I will try to emphasize those. So as you know already, the 3 categories A, B, C. Category A is essentially equipment, they call it solutions. Then B and C are essentially services. So let's look at the structure of the volume or the volume structure of your submission. 3 volumes, as you know. Offer volume, which is in addition to the administrative documents and certifications, the most important part is the experience part. Volume 2 is past performance volume, and then volume 3 is the mission suitability volume, and I'm going to go into details of these and the changes. So let's start with category A and see where we stand. So category A has 9 sub areas, or technical areas as they call them. But as far as we are concerned, always remember that 1A to 8A are the ones that we should go for when we are discussing technical areas. So when we are discussing technical areas in the requirements in volume 1 and 2, 9A is not one of them. Okay, so remember that. Now, for volume 1, obviously you need ISO 9001:2015 certification. Now this is either the certificate itself or the POC information to prove it's in the process. So all you need to provide, if you don't have it, is the POC information: name, email, telephone number, address of the company, and that sort of thing. Person they should contact to check that your ISO 9001 is in process. That's good enough. Now, as you remember, there were 8 categories, technical areas, as I mentioned, 8 of them. So for one of those sub areas, you need to provide 1,000 CLINs or line items from one designated provider OEM and 50 CLINs from a second one. For 3 others, you're supposed to provide 100 CLINs from one, 50 CLINs from the other. And then you need to provide 2 CLINs, and these are not from providers or anything like that. They could be from a provider, but they could be yours. 2 CLINs from sub-area 9A, product-based services. And this should be something like maintenance or repair or that sort of thing. So 2 CLINs there, but everything else is on those 4 different areas. And I have depicted that on a picture below. So you can see that you have to pick 4 of those 8 technical areas or sub areas. One of them is primary one, and you're supposed to provide 1,050. This is the one. And then 3 others, you're supposed to provide 150 CLINs. Under each of these, 1,000 should come from one OEM. That's 50 actually. 50 should come from another OEM. The same for the second sub area, 100 from one OEM, 50 from the second OEM. Now, note that these OEM X and OEM Y could be the same ones that you're using for your primary sub area. That's fine. Maybe you have the main OEM is Cisco, and you're using it for all of these 4. 1,000 Cisco equipment for one of the sub areas, and then 100, 100, 100. And the 50s should come from a second OEM. Now, the thing to remember is you're supposed to provide LOAs. The LOAs must come from the designated OEM, which is the one with the large one. So, for example, for this one, the 100 CLINs from OEM, this OEM you need to get a letter of authorization or LOA from. But the one that you're getting the 50 from, you don't need that, okay? So you only need the LOA from the ones that you're getting the larger amounts. So 1,000, 100, 100, 100. And as I said, maybe you get them all from one OEM, that's fine. So that's how you're supposed to provide. And 2 CLINs, as I said, from sub-area 9A, which is product-based services. As I said, you must provide LOA signed by the designated OEM provider mentioning SEWP VI. So SEWP VI must be in that LOA. Now, if you've already gotten the LOA and you don't have SEWP VI on it, if they issue a secondary letter saying that you do it, maybe it's not LOA, an official LOA, but a letter that they sign, that's acceptable too. So you attach that to the actual LOA. And do remember that distributors cannot sign the LOA. The LOA must come from the actual OEM or provider. And these are listed on enclosure 1 of the RFP. So anyone who is on that list, you can get a LOA from. If the company is not on that list, you cannot use them as your OEM and get an LOA from them. So that's how Volume 1 stands for Category A. Actually, to be honest, not much has changed here. And these requirements have stayed. So this is not one of the areas that much change has been going around. Now, in Volume 2, if you're a large business, you're supposed to provide pre-pass performances contracts between actually 1 to 3 pass performed contracts that cover 4 of those Category A sub areas, and that means 1 to 8, not 9, 1 to 8. So you're supposed to provide between 1 to 3 contracts that covers them, and the contract's annual value must be $2.5 million or more, and that's annual value. That's if you're a large business. If you're a small business, then the annual value of the contract must be over $150,000, and you're supposed to provide 3 of those Category A technical areas, not 4. Now remember that one contract might cover 2, 3, even 4 of those sub areas. That's fine. Then you don't need to provide more. All they want to see is that you've performed a contract covering one of these sub areas or 2 of these. So if you can provide a contract that covers 2 or 3 of these sub areas, that's all you need. If you're a large business, you need to cover up to 4. So maybe one of your contracts covers 3, and then you need a second one. So that's how it works. Now, the annual value is calculated based on the amount actually obligated or paid by the government, and divided by the duration up to the current date. Not the entire contract amount and not the entire duration of the contract. So that's how you calculate the annual value. The past performance contracts that you're using, they must have been completed after May 23rd, 2021. Or if they're ongoing, they must have been awarded before November 23rd, 2023. So this is a major change. Make sure that if you are using an ongoing contract, the start date of that contract is before November 23rd, 2023. The 6 months performance requirement is now set back. They changed it to the due date of the submission. Now they've brought it back to the release of the solicitation. So when you go back 6 months from there, it's November 23rd, 2023. So anything awarded before that and ongoing now is fine. Contracts can be federal, standalone, or task orders, or they can be commercial, and contracts can have been performed as prime or as sub. Now, if you're a small business, you can use past performance from subs as well. And then if you have a single award IDIQ or BPA, or in fact a commercial master service agreement, you can bunch up the contracts under it or the orders under it and consider it one contract. So if the value is not 150,000 if you're small, or even for large businesses, you can actually add up the task orders under single award IDIQ or BPA and get over that limit of $22.5 million or the $150,000 depending on the size of your company. The NAICS for the past performances must be the same as the NAICS that you're submitting under Block 17A in your 1449. That's the submission NAICS. When you're submitting your proposal, first of all, you're supposed to pick the correct 1449 and put in Block 17A which NAICS code you're submitting under, and you do the same thing when you're actually uploading it to SEWP VI or NASA SEWP portal, they will ask you what NAICS it is. Now, whatever NAICS you submit under, your past performance contracts must have that same NAICS code. Now, it might happen that you're using contracts that they don't have that. Then you must provide justification to say why these contracts and the scope of work is relevant to your submission. There's a 10-pager that you actually introduce your past performance, that 1 to 3 contracts that you have, 10 pages of past performance that you have to write towards, and here is the place that you provide that justification. I've not mentioned it, but you're supposed to actually fill out a past performance questionnaire, as you know, send it to the contracting officer, and they don't send it back to you, remember. It's sent directly to NASA by the contracting officer. So they rate you, and then they send it directly to the contracting officer. You must present a list of the contracting officers the contracting officer and his information or her information for each of the 1 to 3 contracts within that 10-pager, actually in the cover page. So the list of POCs for those contracts must be submitted with volume 2 in the cover page, so the government knows to whom you've sent these PPQs. And then we have volume 3, mission suitability, 15 pages of write-up, technical approach, and 15 pages of write-up, management approach. Now, let's go into category B and C, which have seen more changes. So category B, these are the 11 areas, and again, similar to category A, which the last one was program management and that sort of thing. Here, 11B is program management. So when we're discussing in the other, in volume 1 and 2, the requirements, when we say technical areas and sub areas, we mean 1B till 10B. You cannot provide a contract whose main subject is 11B. That's not acceptable. So 1B till 10B are the actual technical areas that we are interested in. So let's look at what's needed in volume 1. So in volume 1 experience, you need, and we're talking category B, ISO 9001 and CMMI level 2. And again, here, either you provide the certification or you prove by providing the POC that it's in process. That's acceptable. Now, if you're a large business, you need to provide 4 contracts. Here you don't provide CLINs like in category A. Here you provide contracts, or as they call them, reps, with a total value of 30 million each that cover 4 of the category B sub areas. That means 1 contract per sub area. Okay? So 30, and the total value of the contracts must be $30 million. That's if you're a large business. If you're a small business, total small business, you need to have 3 contracts, and the total value must be over $5 million, and you cover 3 of those category B sub areas. Again, remember, 11B is not included. Now, if you're a special socioeconomic category such as SDBs, hub zones, VOSB, SDVOSB, women-owned small business or EDWSBs or 8As, then you need to provide only 2 contracts to cover 2 sub areas, and the total value of your contract must be $4 million each. Now, note that it is 1 rep per sub area. You can't use a rep for multiple sub areas. And in your write-up towards that rep, just concentrate on that specific sub area or technical area that you're targeting. Even though that rep, that contract might cover multiple of them, just concentrate on 1. And then you have to use another rep, another contract to cover another technical area. Now, for MPJVs, and these are new, for MPJVs, reps can come from the mentor. This was missing previously. So mentors, yes, they can provide reps. Proteges can, and the mentor protege JV can. Now, if it's coming from the mentor, it has to be that $4 million range. But if the rep is coming from the protege or the MPJV itself, it will be halved. So the value can be just over $2 million. So these are all new. If it's a special JV with one of these socioeconomic types, like an 8A JV or a hub zone JV, whatever, at least one of the reps must come from the JV itself or the member with the socioeconomic status. Now, the value of the rep provided by JV itself or the member with the socioeconomic status must be over $2 million. So this is half the gains. Instead of $4 million, if it's coming from the JV itself or one of the one with the socioeconomic status, the value is $2 million. So these are all new changes. Now, total contract value, how do you calculate that? So if it's an ongoing contract, you add all option years to the base year. So maybe you're in the second year and this is a 10-year contract. The value will be that 10-year, whatever it is. It's, you calculate that, which is good. For completed contracts, however, it's actually what you were paid. So that's the obligated amount. Whatever you were paid. Maybe it's less than the actual contract amount. I mean, what was on the paper initially, or maybe it's more. That's what you use, what you were actually paid. The rep contracts must have been completed after May 23rd, 2021. And if they're ongoing, again, that change, that 6-month performance, they must have been awarded before November 23rd, 2023. So this is a change. Make sure that the reps you're using, if it's an ongoing one, was awarded before that date. Otherwise, it won't be considered as having a 6-month of performance. Contracts can be federal. So the rest is similar to category A. I will not go over it. And again, here, as far as volume 1 reps are concerned, the NAICS for the rep can be any of the NAICS under category B in Exhibit 4. So category B in Exhibit 4 has, around 40 different NAICS codes. As long as it's one of those, it's acceptable. So it doesn't have to be your submission NAICS code under volume 1. Okay, so let's move into volume 2 now. So we are in category B, volume 2. So if you're a large business, you need to provide up to 3 contracts, each with an annual value of $2.5 million to cover 4 of the category B sub areas, and 11B is not included in those. Small businesses, total small businesses, 3 contracts, up to 3 contracts, each with an annual value of $1 million to cover 3 of the category B sub areas. Now, socioeconomic categories, up to 2 contracts, annual value of $1 million. Now, again, new material, MPJVs. So past performance can come from mentor. Again, this is changed. The protege or the mentor protege itself. Past performance from the mentor must be over an annual value of $1 million, similar to the socioeconomic ones. But past performance from protege or the mentor protege JV itself must be over $500K. So half of that $1 million. So these are all new changes. For JVs with one of those socioeconomic types, like a JV or similar, past performance can come from the JV itself or any of the members. The annual value of the past performance provided by the JV itself or the member must be over $500K. So again, half the value. And again, annual value is calculated by the actual obligated amount. The past performance contracts must have been completed after May 23rd, 2021. Or if ongoing, again, make sure this has been changed November 23rd, 2023. The rest of the information is similar. Now, as far as the NAICS code, that last point, the NAICS code of your past performance must be the same NAICS code that you submit your contract with. Again, like category A. So if you're submitting under 541512, the past performance contracts that you're submitting must have that 541512 NAICS code. You are allowed not to have that, but then you have to provide justification as to why that specific contract and the scope of work there is relevant to 541512. in our example. So, and that goes into that 10-pager that you provide for past performance, similar to category A. So that was category B. Now category C, again, is very similar to category B, but the numbers are a little bit different. So these are the technical areas. Again, you don't look at 11C. That is not going to be used in terms of the contracts you're supposed to provide. In category C, obviously, you don't need CMMI, so you only need to provide justification or your certification for 9001, or the POC information for if it's an under approval. Now, the total value here is $2 million, and obviously category C is for small businesses only. So if you're a total small business, your contracts must be over $2 million to cover 3 of the category C sub areas, not including obviously sub area 11C. Now, if you're one of those special socioeconomic ones, you need to cover only 2 contracts, 2 sub areas. Remember, 1 rep per sub area. You can't use 1 rep for 2 sub areas. You need to use a different rep, a different contract for that sub area, for the second sub area. Now, MPJVs, again, the same thing, but here the value is halved. So even though the mentor must provide a contract which is over $2 million, but the protege or the MPJV itself can provide a contract that is over $1 million, and it's acceptable. And socioeconomic JVs, again, if the member or the JV itself, they can provide contracts that are over $1 million instead of $2 million. That is the usual for non-JV contracts submissions. Total value is the calculation is the same. So add all option years here. We are talking about volume 1. And then if it's completed, what you were actually paid, the obligated amount. The same problem with the dates. So remember that November 23rd, 2023 stands for category C as well. And the NAICS codes you use for volume 1 for the reps, any of the acceptable, or as they call it, in scope NAICS for category C are acceptable. So it doesn't have to be your submission NAICS code. Okay, let's move forward to volume 2. So volume 2, you're supposed to provide, we don't have large business requirement here. Small businesses, total small business, 500K annual value, covering 3 areas. If you're a socioeconomic, special socioeconomic, you need to provide 2 contracts to cover 2 of those areas. Now, as I said previously, maybe you have 1 contract that covers 2 of those technical areas, you're good to go. You don't have to provide 2 contracts in volume 2. In volume 1, you had to provide those number of contracts, whether if you're a small, total small business 3, if you're socioeconomic 2 reps. But here, if your contract covers 2 technical areas, that's all you need to provide, just 1 contract. And the annual value must be 500K. Now, again, for MPJVs, that's halved. So if the protege or the MPJV is providing that contract, the value can be $250,000, the annual value. If the mentor is providing it, it has to be 500K. It says 1 million, it should be 500K. Now, for JVs, again, $250,000, so half that 500K, that is the requirement. The rest is similar, and again, let me emphasize that since this is past performance, the NAICS code that you provide for these contracts must be the same NAICS code that you're submitting your submission under, what's included in block 17A in your 1449. But if it's not the case, then you have to provide justification in your 10-page write-up. And similar to B, here you also provide that PPQ for each contract that you are providing. Let me now show you what the submission structure should look like. So this is for category A. So you should have a top folder here, main folder, which will have 3 folders on it. And the top folder, the XYZ is your company name, then the solicitation number, and then category A. This is how you will name it. So XYZ you replace with your company name. Then the folders under it, within that folder, there will be 3 folders. XYZ again, your company name, whatever it is. Category A underscore volume 1, the same category A volume 2, and same category A volume 3. So this is how it is. And once you put in these documents, and I will go over them, you put in these documents into these folders and these folders into the top folder, then you zip this top folder and you submit. You upload that to the SEWP portal, the NASA SEWP portal. So all you submit is one file, which is a zipped file of this folder, this top folder. Okay, so three folders within it, inside folders. Let's look at what goes into volume 1. So you must have a cover page, and within that cover page, there are a number of things that you have to provide. How long the validity is, and a few other things that are written in the RFPs if you look it up. The SF 1449. So here I just want to mention again, remember that the NAICS code that you're submitting should go in that SF 1449 as well in block 17A. Block 17A is where you put your company name and everything, your UEI, and also put in the NAICS code. So they've said that you should put it there. They had originally said that this is again a change. They had originally said that you should put it in block 10. They've changed that, so you don't put it in block 10. Don't do anything with block 10. They've put some information there. Just put it in block 17A. Now, there have been obviously 12 amendments. So there are 2 ways of doing it. You can actually put in a sentence in that cover page saying that you are in agreement, you have received all the 12 amendments, or you can actually get all the amendments, sign them, and bunch them together and have them in one document. Both are acceptable. Then you're supposed to have the reps and certs, and that's the reps and certs within the RFP, and there is a section within it that says that your SAM reps and certs is updated. If that's the case, you don't need to provide anything else. Just that page that says your SAM reps and certs is updated. If you submit that page by itself, that's fine. If not, if your SAM is not updated, then you have to actually fill out the entire reps and certs and put it here as well. Financial. So this is a requirement. So you're supposed to provide either your annual financial reports, or you can say a letter from a bank providing your credit. So they want to see that you have enough credit or enough money to actually be able to perform contracts and task orders. So they haven't said, they've said that there's no specific requirement how you're going to do that, how you're going to show it. 2 examples that are given is an annual report plus a letter from a bank providing your credit. But you might, provide other ways of doing it too. The Ability 1 letter goes here also. The Ability 1 letter, before I move on. Now, one major change is this. Previously, they had said that you're supposed to bunch all these together into one document. Now they've said that each of these should be a separate document. Okay, that's why there's a long list here under volume 1. So this is a new change. All the documents are going to be separate when you submit them. And these are all in PDF. If it's an Excel sheet, I have actually highlighted it in Excel or bolded it so you know which ones are Excel. Everything else must be in PDF. Okay, Ability 1. So you must get an Ability 1 letter. Now, Ability 1 is required for some NAICS codes and not for others. My recommendation is that you get it, but you can look it up whether your NAICS code is actually requires a an ability one letter. On the RFP, it has an asterisk next to it. All of those NAICS codes in the list in the main RFP document that have an asterisk next to them, they require a ability one letter. So that goes here. Now, if you're a CTA or a JV, obviously, and when I say CTA, I mean a real CTA plus a prime sub relationship. Both of them, you're supposed to put in the agreement here. Now, remember, a prime sub relationship only needs this agreement here if and only if you're using a contract from the sub. If you have a sub but you're not using their contracts in volume 1 or volume 2, and this stands for all category A, B, C, you're not supposed to provide your agreement with them. The agreement is only needed if you're actually using their contracts. JVs, obviously, if you have a JV, the JV agreement goes here. Merkles. So if you're using a contract from your affiliate, mother company, or you know, other divisions, anything like that, you do need a Merkle. Goes here with that naming. Now, since we are discussing category A, Exhibit 3A is an Excel sheet. It goes by itself, so you don't turn it into a PDF. It stays an Excel sheet, the clean spreadsheet. So, and make sure that everything is filled out. Now, you need the LOAs. Obviously, maybe you only need 1 or 2, but I put in 4. Maximum, obviously, is 4 LOAs because 4 areas you're supposed to provide. And each LOA will be separate, a document, PDF document. And then Exhibit 4 is Excel, the NAICS crosswalk. So Exhibit 4 must go here in Excel format. Don't turn it into a PDF or anything like that, but obviously filled out, in which you mention under each of the NAICS codes. It has a long list of NAICS codes under category A. You mention whether you're small or you're large. Now, if you're a special socioeconomic, you must mention, maybe you're both 8A and hub zone. So you don't say small business, you say 8A hub zone. So you do mention your specific socioeconomic standing there. And finally, ISO 9001, which is a requirement. So these are all the documents that go into volume 1. In volume 2, you need a cover page. And remember, I said the list of all the POCs, the contracting officers that you have sent your PPQs to should go into that cover page too. The second document, which I called PP, is the one that 10-pager that you describe how you performed in those contracts. And remember that if the NAICS code is different from your submission, you also have to provide justification in that 10-pager as well. And then another thing that they have emphasized maybe a little bit earlier in than Amendment 11, but I think I should mention it here. You are supposed to provide a list of all the contracts that were defaulted or were descoped because of your, some sort of a fault in your side, not on government side. So descoped contracts and defaulted contracts, terminated contracts, you must provide the list during the past 3 years. Now that list will not count against those 10 pages. You can put it at the end of those 10 pages as a separate page, or you can actually provide a separate document and call it defaults. They haven't said what name should be given to it, whatever you want to provide. So that's that goes into volume 2. Then in volume 3, you have the technical approach, which is 15 pages. It should have its own cover page and table of content and everything. Then you have a management approach, again 15-pager plus table of content and the cover page. And then your CSCRM, which is an Excel form, that's Exhibit 5, goes here. Now, if instead of the CSCRM, the Excel form, you do have an OTTPS certification, it goes here. And so either the CSCRM Excel sheet or the OTTPS certification, which is acceptable in lieu of a CSCRM. Both will go here. So this is the structure of category A. Obviously, the other two structures are similar. So category B is similar. Only in category B, especially in volume 1, since you don't have those CLINs, instead you have the reps. So rep 1, rep 2, rep 3. If you're a socioeconomic one, you only need 2 reps. Rep 3 would be for total small business, and large businesses need all 4 reps. And then obviously the next crosswalk, the ISO 9001 and the CMMI. So category B requires a CMMI document certification. It goes here. Now, remember, if it's in process for you, you put a document, and in the document you just say, here is the POC information. So it's one pager that provides the POC information. The rest of the volume 2 and volume 3 are essentially similar to category A. So here you provide the past performance, and in volume 3 you provide technical approach, management approach, and the CSCRM or OTTPS certification. And finally, for category C, again the same thing. Here you don't have large businesses, so you can have 3 reps, and you don't have CMMI, so you only have ISO 9001. The rest is similar. But do note that the naming convention. So always you putting category C everywhere in all the names, document names. And for all of them, 3 folders, you put in the documents, everything in PDF except the 2 or 3 Excel sheets. And then you zip them, zip the entire folder, the top folder, and submit that zipped file, which cannot be larger than 120 meg. Assuming that most of these documents will be small documents, I don't think we will run into a problem for any of these. So in terms of going over the 120 meg. Some clarifications. Okay, so this black hole of NAICS, I always go over it. So there are multiple issues about NAICS. I just want to clarify it. So the RFP itself has 3 NAICS. Category A is 541519E, category B is 541512, category C is that. Just forget about those. That's just an administrative purposes of the government, their own internal NAICS code. So forget about what the NAICS code of those categories is. Now, you have your NAICS code for competition, or what you call submission NAICS code. That's what goes into SF 1449. That is what you write in 17A, block 17A, and also when you're submitting to SEWP portal, it asks you under which NAICS are you submitting. So you have to decide. That ties in, if you remember, with your past performance, number 5. So the past performance contracts that you provide must have the same NAICS, or you provide reasoning as to why it's relevant. But there's the crosswalk exhibit 4 that you have to fill out, and that lists under each of these categories, whether it's A, B, or C, a long list of NAICS codes. You just mention in that exhibit 4 whether you're small or large. If you're small, you have to say if you have a special standing or a total small business, 8A, STV, OSB, whatever. You just put that under that cell. And then the NAICS codes for your rep contracts, they can be any NAICS codes under Exhibit 4 for that category. And I've listed these on the next page. So your reps, say you're going for category A, your reps, for category B or C, the reps can have any of these NAICS codes, okay? So the 2 or 3 contracts that you're providing as rep in volume 1 can have any of these NAICS codes. But if your submission is, say, went forward. So if your submission is 518210, for example, then your past performance contracts must have the same NAICS, 518210. So, or if they don't, then you have to provide, reasoning why. But the reps that you will provide, they can have any of these NAICS codes, any under category B or C. So these are the NAICS codes for B and C, and to the right, which is more category A NAICS codes. They call them in-scope NAICS code. So that was a discussion of NAICS code. Ability 1. So you're not supposed to get Ability 1 letter for all the NAICS codes. It's not mandatory, but it's mandatory for some of the NAICS codes, and you can look it up in the RFP, which ones, the ones that have an asterisk next to them, you have to have that. And the goal is that at the end of the year, if you know what Ability 1 is, it's towards subcontracting part of your work to contractors with disabilities, whether they're blind or other types of disabilities. You're supposed to, and that's the goal, to subcontract 2% of your contracts to these subcontractors. Now that's a goal. If at the end of the year you don't reach that, they're not going to kill you. You just have to say, hey, we'll try better next year. But that's essentially how it works. And it's an annual, you're supposed to provide reports every 3 months, but the main report is annually, and it's not per task orders necessarily. So it doesn't mean that all task orders must have this 2%. Financial, I did cover, so it goes into volume 1. You need to provide, but it's a must, it's mandatory, to need some sort of a financial documentation to prove that you do have the capability to actually perform the projects. Now this can be a bank letter of credit, or it can be your end of year annual financial report, profit and loss statement, and that sort of thing. As far as multiple proposal and categories, you need to provide separate proposals if you're going for multiple categories. So you don't mix them together. If you're going for B and C, you need a complete set for B and then a complete set for C. Completely different. Maybe some of the documents are similar, that's fine. But remember the naming conventions in submission, everything must be completely separate. If you bid on a small business and win, you can participate in the unrestricted task orders in that category. So if you're going for B, if you win and are awarded, then you can actually participate in all task orders under B and not necessarily under that technical area that you provided your reps or past performance. You can participate under all technical areas under category B, whether it's small or large business. No problem. Obviously, it doesn't work vice versa. So large businesses cannot participate in task orders that are set aside for small businesses. Okay, so those were with regards to these. Now, volume 3 clarifications. Now, there was a lot of questions with regards to how to write towards, whether if you're going after 2 or 3 of those technical areas, whether you should write towards, in your technical approach towards them, or whether you should cover all 8 or 9 or 10 technical areas, depending on which of those category A, B, C you're going. So they have mentioned that no, you're not going to do that. You're not going to, cover your own technical areas. So they've said it specifically. The offerer must provide a summary description of their overall technical offerings and general capabilities in accordance with the proposed category scope. So what is important is the scope. So you have to go back to attachment A, SEWP scope, section A2 scope. Read it from there. And they've emphasized this multiple times in the Q&As. Also, with regards to next generation technology, you should provide examples as it relates to your offerings and your capabilities. Response to the commitment to sustainability are under management approach. It's mandatory for all categories and all types of companies. You can't say, hey, I'm a IT software engineering company. We have nothing to do with sustainability. You do. Even the pens you buy, how you actually use different types of green items and that sort of thing. So you have to cover it. Even though your plan might be much smaller than somebody who's manufacturing material, but you must cover it. It's mandatory. So don't just say, hey, we're not there. The 4 acquisition objectives that is mentioned, they must be mentioned in technical approach, your technical approach. They're detailed out in attachment A, page 2, and you're supposed to cover the first 3 in your write-up. You can reference your subcontractors' past performance or experience in your write-up, even if you're not providing their specific contracts in your volume 1 and 2. So remember, you only provide your subcontracting agreement if you're using them, their contracts. If you're mentioning them here in your technical approach or your management approach, you don't need to provide an agreement with that subcontractor. You should mention any contracts terminated or descoped during the past 3 years and reasons for it. This is not counted against the page count limit, and this goes actually in volume 2, but I just wanted to emphasize this. Make sure that you actually provide that. Partnering, which is usually a question. So emphasis that OTSBs, large businesses, cannot use subcontractors for volume 1 and 2 contracts, so everything is on themselves. You can prime and at the same time be part of another team, a JV or a CTA per category, the same category. This includes priming as OTSB and subbing as a small business. If you're small under that, some of the NAICS codes, that's acceptable too. So you can prime once, you can be a part of a JV or CTA once, but you can be any number of times a subcontractor. Subcontractors and teammates can always be added after award and the task order level as well. If you're subbing, you can participate in multiple teams. It is allowed. Small businesses can have large businesses as their subs, but cannot use the large businesses contracts for rep or PP for volume 1 or volume 2. So why would you do that? I don't know. Why would a small business have a large business as their sub? At least here at the contract vehicle, there's no reason for it, because you can't use the large businesses contracts in volume 1 or volume 2. There was some confusion as whether you can use the same contracts or the same volume 3 write-up if you're submitting in 2 proposals, like in Prime and in a JV member. They have clarified it, and you are allowed to do that. So no problem there. Oh my God, we're very late. Final recommendations. Okay, so general. Amendment 12 is the final RFP. I'm sure of it. Carefully review each and every part of sections L and M, especially everything that has been changed. Use the document that shows the changes. There is one document that shows all the changes. Then ensure that the latest changes in Amendment 11 and 12 are incorporated in your proposal. Now, my suggestion is not to read the old Q&As, because a lot of them are contradictory and you get confused and you might make mistakes, change something that you shouldn't. So do not go back into the Q&As. There are more than 6,000 Q&As. Forget about them. The best maximum you want to do is to just look at batch 8 and 9, the latest, the 1,000. Don't go to the previous ones. Instead, use the RFP that comes in the Amendment 12. That has the final word. Now, compliance is of utmost importance in SEWP VI. In the submission, do not mix it up with the usual gate reviews. It's a little bit different. There are many moving parts in each document. We saw all those documents that you provide under each of those volume 1 and 2, 3. You need to create a very, very detailed checklist to ensure that you don't miss anything. It's really important. I think this is the most important part in your review and your compliance checks. This checklist should cover the specific in each document. When I say specifics, I mean, let's say, take LOAs. Does the LOA have a signature? Does the LOA have the SEWP VI name in it? Is the LOA signed by the OEM itself and not by for example, distributor, because that's not allowed? Is the OEM in one of the lists, acceptable lists? A lot of questions like that, and you just tick them. But make sure that you have all of these. So a very thorough checklist is needed. Put a separate team to review specifically for compliance. There are too many moving parts in the proposal, and don't underestimate the compliance review needs for volume 1 and 2. So when I say review and compliance, I don't mean the write-ups in volume 3, the 15 pages of technical and management, 15 pages of management, not just that. Volume 1 and 2 have a lot of moving parts, and they might go wrong if you don't do complete reviews there. Now, get your proposal reviewed by a third party, either within your organization or a professional proposal development such as us. You don't want to face a situation in which you possess all the requirements, you deserve a pass on everything, and they're not going to compare your proposal with other. You just have to pass each of those volume requirements, and then you fall short because you've made some mistakes in form and format or in content. You don't want to be there. And then use our free consultation service to ask any questions that you might have. I mean, take maximum use of that and ask any questions that you might have. And we are done with our timing. So again, what we can provide full proposal development. At this point, I think the most important thing is that we can provide review services. So by all means, we are ready to do reviews for you, support you. It's really important to have a second set of eyes. If you have it within your organization, by all means use them instead of us. But do take use that free consultation service and set it up, and we can actually answer any questions. And you can set it up using this information. So this is my email and phone number, and my colleagues Maroon Freedy. Try to set it up with him by phone or email, and we'll jump on a call and answer any questions you might have. So we are past time, and I'm seeing about 1,000 more questions, just like when SEWP, the NASA people, opened up the second round. They received 1,000 questions. Now I'm receiving 1,000 questions. So what I will do is, let me answer a few of them very quickly, but I will answer everything by email. Okay, so quickly 5 questions, and then the rest I will send by email. So Peter says, so do I understand that if I was awarded a contract in February 2024 and it's ongoing, I can't use that? Unfortunately, yes, Peter. So you can't use it. So November 23rd, 2023, before that, if you got it, you can use it. After that date, unfortunately, they have changed it, as I said. Used to be the due date. Now they've changed it to the release date of the original RFP. So no, if it was awarded on February 2024, you cannot use it. Question from Marge: what does the past performance matrix, where does it go? Okay, so the past performance matrix is part of that 10-pager within past performance. So you put it there, and do remember that that matrix, you're supposed to say which of those technical areas your contract covers. Now, if a contract covers more than 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, you only provide it for the ones that you are targeting. So don't try to enlarge the capabilities of it, even if it's there. So if you're targeting 2 categories, 2 technical areas, say for example in category A you're going for network and you're going for cloud, and you have a contract that covers 2 others, in that matrix just say network and cloud. Don't try to mention the others. So make it simple. Question from Steve: do you think they will have more amendments and extend it again? I doubt it very much. I don't think they're going to make any more amendments or extend it. So I think everybody should actually prepare for that last mile and get ready to submit. Mary, I can't download the slide deck. Can you send it? Yeah. So yes, Mary, I'll send that by email. So everybody else, if you have a problem downloading the slide deck, just let me know on the chat system that you want it, and I will send it to you, no problem. Last question from Paul. How are we supposed to answer the question about the use of AI, and is it going to affect our rating? No, they have said it specifically that has no effect on your submission. They just want to know how you have used AI on it. So maybe you used Grammarly, for example, to check your grammar. Maybe you used ChatGPT to do some research and even get some parts of the response. That's no problem. You just say that I use Grammarly for checking the grammar and the writing, and I use ChatGPT for my research or something like that, and that's it. They just want to know how you have used AI on it. That's all. Okay, everyone, we are 5 minutes past the 1 hour, so I have received a long list of questions, to be honest, a long list, and I will try to answer these and get back to everyone by email. And then if you still have questions, as I said, we have free consultation, so contact Marone, set up a call, and we can jump on it, or just email me and I can answer by email as well. Thank you everyone for participating in our webinar, and I hope that you will have a very successful submission of SEWP. And if anybody is looking for review services from our side also, please contact Marone, and have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.